Okay, this is the Hyosung GT250R rear wheel cylinder that I pulled off. It was toasty. What ended up happening was I don't have the plunger in the rear wheel cylinder right now, but as this sits in the bottom, the snap ring goes in there too, but I'll show you that in a second. I guess this seal had popped out, and the whole thing was sitting kind of like this, and water had gotten in and corroded, and the piston could no longer move within the bore. Pushing the piston back in. Anyway, the piston was in and frozen. It was stuck. So there's a C-clip on the bottom of here, right there. That goes in the bottom, and that retains the plunger, the brake plunger. Anyway, you have to pull that off, and the wheel cylinder inside of there, though, you push that out from the back, and the spring and wheel cylinder will pop out. This is where the banjo nut attaches on the for the brake line to the rear caliper. And you just, with a screwdriver, gently, don't touch the threads, pop it down and out with. Trying to do this one-handed. Come on, get out of there. Anyway, so we're going to clean this up. Cleaned up this part. This was rusty. So we're going to clean that up and soak everything in brake fluid. We're going to clean up the rust. There's a little bit of rust on this. We're going to use the rubber seals. Still look good on this. The spring is fine. It's just a little rusty on the end here, and that's just where it touches. It touches like this inside. This just, the plunger just pushes on the wheel cylinder like that inside in the piston, and that pushes brake fluid out through here. Anyway, brake fluid out through here to the rear caliper, and then fluid flows down from the brake fluid reservoir down into here. And I don't know where I put the top for that. And the top where it hooks up to the fluid reservoir is simply one Phillips screw holding this in, and there's a rubber O-ring there. So if you want to rebuild your wheel cylinder, if you have to rebuild your wheel cylinder, or it's sticking like this one, pop this out. Check the bore of the wheel cylinder. If it's all rusty in there, well, you're going to need a new one. But this one wasn't. The problem ended up being in this end. The spring C-clip popped out, and then water got in and rusted from this side, but inside the bore everything was fine. So anyway, I'm just going to take some 2000 grit wet and dry paper, roll that into a tube, and I'll be able to stick it in the end and then spin it to polish that back up, polish that bore back up, and then lubricate it all with brake fluid, and hopefully this will be fine again, because there's not a Hyosung dealer for 200 kilometers. Obviously I won't put it on the bike if it is not working 100% perfectly, but I don't see a problem with this. But if you have to rebuild your Hyosung wheel cylinder, I'm guessing the kit would come with these rubber, probably come with it. I don't know if you can buy the rebuild kit. It's possible that you can't. I don't 100% know. Maybe you have to buy the whole thing. But if you buy the new one, it would probably come with a piston and with the rubber boots on it and the spring, probably the washer, and maybe the C-clip. There's not too much else to them. They're pretty simple. Rebuild should be very easy. I can't see this going wrong.